so glad you're joining us today. I have a very special friend here today that went with me on an adventure to Mexico.
Oh, yes.
Jesslyn Adams. And we're going to talk today about just another time when God was mighty in the life of another woman. And because I know that he's not a respecter of persons, I hope you hear. I hope it gives you ears to hear that he loves you as much as he loves me, as much as he loves Jesslyn. He loves his daughter so much, and he will meet every need, no matter what it is in your life. And I hope that is just joy for you this morning as you listen to us have this conversation. Thanks for joining us. But today we're going to kind of talk about finances because it's such a big deal. You and I both grew up with a little bit of financial insecurity. Is there anything you'd like to talk to women about that you've learned through that process and just dealing with that as an adult?
For sure. You know, I was very blessed to grow up in a home where I was not lacking. Things were always provided for. I would say, though, there were times of prosperity in our family, and then there were times of desolation. But our needs were always met. My parents always took care of us. But I noticed as I went to college, just longing to be secure, to be safe, to feel like there's always a bunch of money in my savings account, even though there wasn't. I remember I started signing up for credit cards because I just didn't want to be without, and I wanted things just in case. Well, I didn't make the wisest decisions. But yet, God in his grace, I remember I took student loans out, and every time I got a grant check, which you would get two things. You would get a grant check that you don't have to pay back, and then you would get a loan payment. Yeah, which I will eventually have to pay back with interest. I remember something would happen to my car, and like all that grant money would have to go to that. And I thought to myself, are you serious? I can't go shopping with that?
Yes,
I was so mad. But God was like, no, I know you need this. And so he took care of those car payments that I needed to make. And then even after college, like you said, my husband and I work for a ministry, and we raise all of our financial support. Really, God does it, but we get to invite people to join with us. And so I can't believe that we've chosen this path, but I've seen God. I've been serving now for over 20 years, and he has always provided for us. And I remember as a single working with the ministry, living in Houston. I'm not gonna lie, one of those designer pair of jeans, I'd work hard for it. But just this greater awareness of, oh goodness, I still have student loan debt. This is kind of hindering me in being able to do some things with my finances that I think God would desire. And so what would it look like to fully depend on him and to trust him to kind of go after some of this debt? And I'll be honest, Denise, when I saw my student loan debt, my car loan debt, and I saw my current salary in the ministry, I thought, only God, only God.
And it was true, only God, because he did it in our lives too when we finally had that realization.
Yeah.
It was like, this will take us 10 years to pay off, and we won't be doing anything else. And in 18 months, just dedicating it to him, it was gone.
Yeah, I just knew that I did not manage money well. I did not really like to look at my account. I like to deny it.
Yeah.
And I did a Crown Financial Bible Study ministry with my church. And God just shook me and said, you've given me so many things in your life, but you have not given me your finances.
Praise God.
And so I said, Lord, here it is. Every tax refund I get, every extra this, I'm going to go towards debt. I'm going to go towards debt. And, I was looking at, I think at that point, college loan debts were $28,000 at the time, and my car note was about $15,000. And I thought, okay, this might take until I'm like 50, but here we go. And I am not kidding, Denise, within 8 months.
And it was impossible.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're looking at your money and you're looking at your debt and you're saying this is impossible. So something impossible happened.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be. And I'll admit, as I'm like trying to be a good steward and pay off the debt and not spend money on things that the world tells me I need, I was very frustrated. I was doubting God. And then God used a family member who decided that they said, hey, I know you and your brother have some student loan debt, and I would rather see my inheritance be blessing you now while I'm alive than when I'm dead. And so, tell me what you owe on your student loans.
No, it's just out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
So
And she didn't want to support my ministry, but she did.
Yeah. So God says that when we have favor with Him, we have favor with men, and those men can even be enemies. They will still be peaceful with us, and they will have favor towards us. We don't know. One of the ways our debt got paid off was randomly from the IRS, which I've told you I had an irrational fear of. Randomly, we get this check from the IRS, and I mean, I can't. I'm reading that paperwork, which you never can understand what the heck that paperwork means.
No.
And so I wouldn't even cash it for a while. And then finally we just said, well, I guess it's ours because they haven't come back to get it. I kept watching my bank account thinking they're just going to take everything. I didn't want to use it in case they came back and required it back. And then what was I going to do? That was one of the big chunks to pay it off. Well, we had no idea that was coming in. No idea. God just does stuff. He provides when we trust Him. And I just think that's a lesson I want us to know and share today, is that we can chase money or we can chase God. And a lot of times the world wants us to chase money for security, even just for security, not even for all the things that we think we want with our eyes, that we desire.
When we put our eyes on money, it will lead to anxiety. And I've seen God do this all throughout my life. I mean, there's been other expenses. I mean, that same family member 2 months later paid off our car note.
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh.
And then I saw myself go, oh, mercy, okay, I'm dating somebody. I want to save up for the wedding. Lord, can I go live rent-free somewhere so I could save up some more money for the wedding? He opened that door.
Oh, wow.
The girl that opened the house to me ended up being my sister-in-law. Introduced her to my brother. And then Matthew and I got married, and I remember he had some student loan debt from his master's.
Uh-huh.
And I said, hey, let's pay it off with the savings that I've been able to accrue because someone else
Praise
paid
God.
off my debt.
Praise God.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, God's doing stuff. Like, let's just get rid of this debt. And God continually, even when we had kids and we had trouble having kids and we had to seek out help and we thought, where's this money going to come from?
Mm-hmm.
He continually provided for us to have two precious boys. And even, oh my gosh, Denise, even in light of the pandemic, I mean, we saw everybody, struggle financially and with inflation. Here I am again going, whoa, there's some big costs coming up. How is this going to happen?
And you all are depending on support from people at that
Yes.
point because you're both in ministry.
Yes, and it is tempting. I want to get back in the driver's seat. I want to see a padded savings account. I don't want to say no to my kids when they ask for things. And I tend to not trust God. Yeah. And He has repeatedly and told me, I'm Jehovah Jireh. I will provide. I don't withhold one good thing from those whose walk is blameless. And He has continually provided for me. And it's something I still wrestle with, but He is good. He always takes care of my needs and my kids' needs, because I think what's unique is once you start having kids, you worry about their future needs. And God cares for them even more than I do.
That's exactly right. And He's made promises to you about your children too.
Yes.
And so you can rest. We have to remind ourselves of it pretty regularly. I think we have to speak it to one another.
I'm talking like multiple times a day.
Yeah. I can honestly say, I can look back and there is not one thing that I ever wanted that I didn't get. And every need was fully met in my life. And I'm 66. So I'm just giving that to you as you're walking. You got a few more years.
I need to hear that. And even you sharing your story of how God provided a house already speaks to us, because we're in a season of going, Lord, if it is your will to purchase a house, would you make it clear? And I'll admit, the way the housing costs and interest rates, I'm like, I don't know how. But God.
Every season it seems like it's more impossible. Back then it seemed impossible that every house was so expensive.
Yeah.
Then we offered what we had, and we had the house. And I think that was always God. So God can do that in this season too. So he's going to open up a door to what you've got, what you're able to do, and it'll just happen. Or it might be a gift. I mean, God pours gifts out on us. He pours them out on us. And so I think we have to be more expectant because we're his precious daughters and he loves us and he wants good for us, right?
I mean, he really does. And even if, purchasing a home is not God's will for us, he's there with us. He knows exactly what we need. And I've got to continually put that trust back in him. But if, like you said, if I fix my eyes on him and delight in him, I do believe he'll give me the desires of my heart as they honor and reflect him.
Yeah.
But he is good and he is generous, and I am still learning that. I'm still in process of that, but I was just marinating on that today as he answered some prayers this morning already.
Praise God. Praise God.
Already he did, and so
he's good.
Yeah.
He's